All right, Sydney Morning Herald. Let's go to the splash. Threat of jump in ATAR cutoffs. Australian tertiary admission rank cutoffs for popular university courses are expected to soar next year unless surging demand from domestic students is met with an increase in places. Amid a weak job market and fewer traineeships due to the COVID-driven recession, universities warn that students turned away from education face a lifetime of diminished prospects and want the government to increase funding for domestic students so they can offer more spots. I think this is really good policy. I mean, at a time when, our exposure to international students has been well and truly chronicled, and we now know that, because of the ban on Chinese students, it's affecting the viability of universities. I think opening up more university places to domestic students is a great idea.
Well, I half agree with you. It's a noble virtue, indeed. But the problem here, we've got to go all the way back to the Gillard government, where they uncapped university enrolments, and overnight universities swelled with students. Ever since, they've been trying to shove more and more students through universities because they want the money. It's not actually about delivering good education, it's about the money, because they know that a lot of these students get a year into their degree, decide they don't want to do any more, they drop out, and the university has that money. The student cannot get it back, and of course it is the taxpayer that is paying for it up front through the HEC scheme. So, yes, I agree that we'd like to see more domestic students as opposed to international students. But what I think this is actually about is the universities, at a time when they are in trouble because of their reliance on international students, going to the government for a handout. I mean, if you've got more people putting their hand up saying, I want to go to university, great, but there's not going to be any jobs for them. So what are they going to university for? They're racking up a debt that we're paying for nothing. I mean, we have a glut, well, not a glut actually, we have a dearth of trades in this country. I mean, people, there are so many apprenticeships that tradesmen could offer to people, but nobody wants them. So instead of talking about giving more and more money to universities so they can shovel these students through in a cookie-cutter method, let's talk about actually doing something to ensure that people have jobs in the future, not just sending them off to university because that's what the universities want them to do, because that's what makes them money.